Today, we are really taking a look at some unconventional financial thinking.
Hmm.
We want to cut through the noise and focus on one core idea, escaping the rat race, specifically how Robert Kiyosaki lays it out.
It's a really important conversation to have because Kiyosaki, he fundamentally challenges why we even go to school, doesn't he? His point is, look, you spend years learning a profession, but zero time learning about money itself.
Right.
And the result, people, they learn to work for money, as he says, but never learn to have money work for them. It's a cycle.
And his own experience was kind of the catalyst, wasn't it? Growing up with these two starkly different father figures. You had the highly educated poor dad PhD, valued job security,
The traditional path.
and then the rich dad who dropped out in 8th grade,
Right.
but saw wealth totally differently. Systems, assets.
Exactly. And having those two opposing views, like one saying save, be secure, the other saying take smart risks, build assets, it forced him to think, to choose, which is really what we want you, the listener, to do today. Make an informed choice.
Yeah, those clashing perspectives were his real education. It was constant. Like one dad saying, the love of money is the root of all evil.
The classic line.
Right. And rich dad would just fire back, no, the lack of money is the root of all evil. Total opposite.
And it wasn't just talk, it was about action too. Imagine hearing, study hard, find a good company to work for.
Standard advice.
And then the other voice saying, study hard so you can find a good company to buy. That's not just advice, that's a completely different life plan right there.
It absolutely is. And it leads directly to, well, the very first rule he lays out for getting ahead financially. It sounds simple, but it's crucial. You must know the difference between an asset and a liability. And then, by assets, only assets.
Okay, let's nail that down. Simple definitions, right? He keeps it basic. What's the core difference based on cash flow? Super simple, almost deceptively so. An asset, it puts money in your pocket, period.
Okay.
A liability takes money out of your pocket. That's it. So if you want wealth, you build your life around acquiring things that generate income assets.
Okay, hang on. Let's push back a little here, play devil's advocate like a listener might. The big one is the house. Kiyosaki famously calls your primary home a liability. That feels like a huge oversimplification for most people, doesn't it? What about equity, appreciation, eventually paying it off?
That's the core contention, yeah.
Yeah.
And he looks at it purely through cash flow, month to month. He gets appreciation exists, but he says the moment you buy it to live in, it starts taking money out. Mortgage, taxes, insurance, repairs.
Right, the ongoing costs.
Exactly. It's a negative cash flow.
Wow.
You work to pay for it. So in that sense, it functions as a liability draining your resources now. If your biggest investment is costing you money every month, he argues, you're tied down no matter what it might be worth on paper someday.
So that shift, focusing on the monthly cash flow, not just the potential future value or net worth,
Yeah.
that's kind of the linchpin, keeping people stuck in what he calls the rat race.
Precisely. The rat race, that's just the pattern. Get up, go to work, pay bills, maybe buy some stuff, repeat. But the deeper thing he points out is how it keeps people there. It uses our own emotions against us, fear and greed.
Fear of what? Losing the job,
Yeah.
not paying the bills.
And then greed, not like evil greed, but the desire for a bit more. A raise, a better car, a bigger house, which just leads to more spending, more debt.
So you get a raise.
And the lifestyle inflates right along with it. Look at the typical middle-class cash flow he describes. It's a trap, really. Income is mainly salary.
Right, from the job.
As salary goes up, they take on more liabilities they think are assets. Bigger mortgage, car payments, credit cards, income and expenses just climb together. They're stuck.
And the system kind of reinforces it, right? With taxes. Income goes up, you hit a higher bracket.
Exactly. So they work harder, maybe get promoted, but more of that extra effort goes to the government in taxes, more goes to the bank for the bigger liabilities. They learned how to work hard, sure, but not how to make their money work.
So how does that compare to the rich pattern he describes?
It's fundamentally different. Their income primarily flows from the asset column. Things like rental properties, stock dividends, business profits, maybe royalties.
Stuff that makes money without them actively working for it at that moment.
Right. And crucially, that income isn't just spent on lifestyle. It's plowed back into buying more assets. So it compounds. It grows automatically, ideally faster than inflation, and it disconnects their income from their direct time input.
Okay, so if the middle-class pattern is this trap fueled by fear and greed, the goal is clearly to move out of that pattern. And Kiyosaki provides a map for that, right? The cash flow quadrant?
Yes, the quadrant is his model for understanding where your money comes from. It's not about how much initially, but the source. You've got E for employee.
Works for someone else.
Mhm.
Security-focused.
S for self-employed or specialist. Think doctors, lawyers, consultants, small shop owners. They kind of own their job, but if they stop working...
The income stops too. Still trading time for money, basically.
Exactly. That's the left side of the quadrant, E and S. They work for money. And importantly, the income they make, earned income, is usually taxed at the highest rates.
Okay, so the goal is to move to the right side, B and I.
That's the objective, yes. B stands for business owner. But not just any business owner, someone who owns a system that works without them needing to be there constantly.
Like owning a franchise operation versus being the single plumber running your own truck.
Perfect example. The B owner builds or buys a system that other people run. Then you have I, the investor.
Putting money into other people's systems or assets, stocks, bonds, real estate, private equity.
Right. The I quadrant focuses on making money with money. Their income is passive income from investments or portfolio income like capital gains, and the key. This type of income is generally taxed at much lower rates than earned income.
That investor quadrant sounds ideal, but it feels like the riskiest one too, right? Using leverage, market fluctuations.
Mm-hmm.
How does he address managing that risk? Isn't that what scares people off?
It absolutely is risky if you don't know what you're doing. He stresses financial intelligence massively. Investing without education isn't investing, it's gambling.
Okay.
The goal isn't zero risk, it's managing risk through knowledge.
Yeah.
Understanding the investment, the market, the finances, the legal structures. It's why understanding the B quadrant, the systems thinking, is so helpful for being a successful I.
That B mindset, the McDonald's story comes to mind. Ray Karasik.
Classic example. Kroshak was asked what business he was in. People assumed hamburgers.
But he said,
My business is real estate. He knew the hamburgers were just the product the system sold, but the real asset, the core business, was the valuable land under each franchise. That's B thinking, focusing on the underlying asset, the system.
so the big picture strategy is really about taking income earned on the left side, the E or S quadrant, and converting it into assets that produce passive or portfolio income on the right side, the B or I quadrant, as fast as possible.
That conversion engine is the key to financial freedom. But, just knowing the map, knowing the definitions, it isn't enough. There's a huge inner game involved. Kiyosaki points out 5 big mental or emotional obstacles people have to get past.
We touched on fear already, fear of bills, fear of losing your job. But there's also the direct fear of losing money in an investment, right? That stops people cold.
It's probably the biggest one for the I quadrant. He actually quotes Fran Parkinton, the football player, saying, "Winning means being unafraid to lose. You have to be willing to fail, learn from it, and go again."
Use it as fuel, not a stop sign.
Exactly. Remember the Alamo, a huge loss, right? But it became a rallying cry for victory later. Successful investors treat losses like that painful, maybe, but informative. It inspires them to learn more. For others, one loss confirms their fears and they quit.
That's powerful. Okay, what are the others? You mentioned 5. Fear is 1.
Right. Then there's cynicism, that little voice saying, "Oh, that'll never work," or "It's too risky," or "You need money to make money." It just shoots down ideas before they even start.
Kills possibility.
Yeah, it's like fear wearing an intellectual disguise. Then, laziness.
Laziness. Seems straightforward, but how does it manifest financially?
Often it's hidden by busyness.
Mhm.
People are so busy reacting, working, paying bills, dealing with problems that they feel too tired or overwhelmed to proactively think about their finances, to learn something new, to research an asset. It's easier to just keep doing what they're doing. Mental laziness, really.
Okay, fear, cynicism, laziness. What else?
Bad habits. Specifically, the habit of paying everyone else first.
Yeah.
You get paid, you pay the bills, the mortgage, the credit card, and then if anything is left, maybe you save or invest.
Sounds responsible, though.
Rich Dad apparently hated that. He advocated pay yourself first, meaning the first bill you pay is putting money into your asset column, even if it's a small amount.
But what if you don't have enough for the actual bills then?
That's the point. Wow. That pressure, the heat from creditors may be calling, it forces you to think, to hustle, to find new ways to generate more income to cover everything. It strengthens your financial muscles instead of just managing decline. It sounds harsh, but it forces creativity.
Wow, okay. That's counterintuitive. So fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits. One more.
Arrogance. Thinking you already know it all, or being closed off to new information because what you think you know isn't working, but you refuse to admit it or learn something different.
Like ego. getting in the way of progress.
Precisely. It's the enemy of learning, and learning is critical to shifting quadrants.
So assuming someone can navigate those internal hurdles, they need the actual skills, the financial IQ. He breaks that down too, right? Into 4 parts.
Yeah, 4 key areas of expertise you need to develop. First is accounting financial literacy. You absolutely have to be able to read and understand financial statements. Numbers tell a story.
Got it. Reading the language of money. Number 2.
Investing. The science and strategies of how money makes more money. Different vehicles, different risk levels, how deals are structured.
Okay.
Third, understanding markets, the law of supply and demand. What makes an investment timely? What external factors affect value? You need market sense.
Makes sense. Accounting, investing, markets.
Mhm.
And the last one. This one seems different.
The law. Specifically, understanding tax advantages and asset protection through corporate structures. This is a huge differentiator between the left and right sides of the quadrant.
How so? Explain that tax advantage piece again.
Okay, think about an employee, E quadrant. You earn your salary, right?
Right.
The government takes taxes out first through withholding. Then you get your net pay and you spend what's left after tax.
Standard paycheck reality.
Now compare that to someone operating through a corporation, often B or I quadrant. The corporation earns revenue. Then it spends money on legitimate business expenses, salaries, supplies, rent, travel, whatever is permissible. It can deduct all that. Then whatever profit is left over at the end, that's what gets taxed.
So spend first, then pay tax on the remainder. The employee gets taxed first, then spends the remainder.
Exactly. That ability to spend pre-tax dollars on things that help the business grow or operate is a massive accelerator for wealth building on the right side of the quadrant. It's a legal advantage, but you need to understand the law to use it.
This really has been a deep dive into that Kiyosaki framework. It boils down to building financial intelligence so you have more choices, deliberately focusing on that asset column, and really understanding the rules of the game, especially taxes and structure.
Right. It's about learning to make money work for you instead of you constantly working for it. That's the escape hatch from the rat race.
And as we wrap up, there's a final thought from Kiyosaki that feels especially relevant now in the information age.
Yeah, he really emphasizes continuous learning. He says something like, in today's fast-changing world, it's not so much what you know anymore that counts. It is how fast you learn. That adaptability, that speed of picking up new financial skills and strategies, especially for the B and I quadrants where things shift constantly, that's the real edge.
That's a great point to end on. So the challenge for you listening is maybe to reflect. Which financial formula are you currently using? E, S, B, or I? And maybe more importantly, what's the next financial skill in investing, markets, law that you're going to commit to learning? Because ultimately, as he says, money's just an idea. The power is in your financial education.